Hi, I'm Quinn Russell, an architectural journalist and design traveler based in Dubai, and this is the beginning of my journey in South Korea. I've just wrapped up a 10 immersive day experience in Japan, exploring Osaka, Kyoto, and Tokyo. And if you haven't already, you can check out the full series in my Japan playlist, which is linked in the caption below. Each episode dives into the architecture, the culture, and the little design moments I love documenting. Right now, I'm flying Asian Airlines business class from Tokyo to Seoul, and I was immediately greeted with this beautiful spread of traditional Korean food. There's a warmth and elegance to how it's presented, the banchan, the care, the balance of flavor. It's a quiet introduction to Korean hospitality even before I've landed. And now we have landed, and I've just arrived at the Four Seasons Hotel Seoul. I am checking in after dark. There's something about arriving in a new city at night. It's quiet, intimate, the energy is lower, but the anticipation is just as high. And look at this welcome, a little tart cookie waiting in the room. Let's take a look around the room. Immediately I'm drawn to those scalloped floor to ceiling windows. They're architectural but soft, and they frame the city views in the most cinematic way. The room itself is beautifully layered. There's a soft plush sofa, a proper desk, which I love, and all the lighting is warm and directional. They've thought about how lights live in a room like this. The bathroom opens up to the bedroom with a sliding pocket panel, which gives you this flexibility. You can make it feel expansive, or you can close it off and create a cocoon. Marble lines the floors and the walls. It's clean, classic, and unapologetically polished. There's a deep soaking tub, a separate walk-in shower, and dual vanities, so whether you're decompressing solo or with someone, it feels like space has been designed with real life in mind. And these little touches matter. The mini bar is stocked, the coffee setup is thoughtful, and even the curtains open with the touch of a button. It's luxury but understated, the kind of room that doesn't overwhelm you, it just lets you breathe. I am still not over this view. As I open the curtains, you really get the full impact of where this hotel is positioned. It's not just in the city, it's above it. Right in front of me is Deoksugung Palace, tucked quietly between office towers and wide boulevards. What's striking is the contrast. These low, graceful palace roofs layered in black tile sitting beside glass high-rises. And behind it all, the soft mountain ridge framing the horizon. You can actually see Seoul's Namsan Seoul Tower peeking from the top of the hill. Stepping outside, you're immediately in Gyeongbokgung Square. This plaza is massive, it's the civic core of the city, and it's anchored by a towering statue of King Sejong the Great. There are waterworks cutting through the center where kids splash and play. It's not just a monumental space, it's a place of joy, of movement, and community. And scattered throughout this district, you'll see open-air archaeological sites. The city has done something really special. They've excavated these ancient ruins and left them exposed right in the middle of modern life. It's a reminder that Seoul isn't just building up, it's also looking down, preserving what's below. You're walking on layers of history here, and that's not something every city gives you access to. Just a short walk from the plaza and literally steps from the hotel is Gyeongbokgung Palace. It was originally built in the 14th century and served as the main royal palace of the Joseon dynasty. As I approach the gates, I'm greeted by guards in full traditional dress, a ceremonial moment that happens daily here. Walking through the first gate, the space begins to open up. There's an energy shift. It gets quieter, more reverent as you pass into the interior grounds. The palace is vast. There are multiple pavilions, open courtyards, reflecting pools, and walkways that lead you from one hall to the next. And it's all framed by this architectural language that's uniquely Korean. The curved tile roofs, the vibrant Dangcheong paintings that decorate every beam, and the rhythmic balance of wood, stone, and sky. You'll see people, both locals and visitors, wearing hanbok, the traditional Korean dress. It's not a costume here, it's a cultural experience. You can rent one for the day, walk through the palace in full regalia, and enjoy it with history in a personal way. And then there are the details. The lanterns, the carved brackets, the shadow lines along the rooftops. Every corner of Gyeongbokgung feels like a moment. It's a living archive of Korean design principles, proportion, simplicity, and deep respect for nature. The further you walk, the more the palace unfolds. You move from ceremonial spaces into more domestic quarters, then into gardens and libraries. It was originally constructed in 1395 during the early Joseon dynasty and served as the main royal residence for over 500 years. Much of what we see today is a meticulous reconstruction. The palace was destroyed multiple times during invasions and colonial rule, but through national restoration efforts, it's being brought back to life. And here's a tip. If you wear a traditional hanbok, your entrance is free. It's a beautiful way to engage with the culture, and honestly, seeing everyone in traditional dress adds to the dreamlike atmosphere. Give yourself at least 2 hours to explore. The palace grounds are vast with different zones that feel like their own architectural chapters. There's symmetry, but there's also flow. Ceremonial halls, quiet gardens, reflection ponds. It's all built to elevate your sense of place and rhythm. This isn't just a photo op, it's a place to slow down, observe the geometry, and really feel Seoul's dynastic legacy. After leaving Gyeongbokgung Palace, I wandered into one of Seoul's most atmospheric neighborhoods, Bokcheong Hanok Village. It's a preserved pocket of traditional Korean architecture, home to hundreds of hanok, or wooden courtyard homes, many of which date back to the Joseon dynasty. What makes Bokcheong special isn't just its preservation, it's how alive it still feels. These aren't empty structures behind glass. People live here, work here, and in many cases open their doors to share their experience with you. As you climb the narrow, sloping alleys, the elevation gives you these perfect vignettes, traditional tiled eaves in the foreground, modern towers rising in the distance, and the green silhouette of Bukhansan Mountain quietly watching over the city. Many of the hanok have been converted into art galleries, tea houses, independent boutiques, or guest houses. You can browse handcrafted ceramics, stop for traditional tea in a courtyard setting, or even join a cultural workshop from calligraphy to cooking right inside the homes. From Bucheon, I continued my walk down into Insadong, a district that feels like Seoul's creative pulse. This is where the old world artisanship meets street culture, where every corner offers something to see, taste, or take home. The main artery here is Insadong-gil. It's lined with antique shops, calligraphy stores, art galleries, and street food stalls. It's part cultural showcase, part open air bazaar. And what I love is that it's not overly curated. It still feels lived in, vibrant, a little unpredictable, like a sketchbook of the city's evolving identity. At the heart of it, I came across a Jatori market located inside the Anyong Insadong complex. This market is a newer addition to the area, but it feels right at home, full of pop-up stalls, handmade crafts, boutique snacks, and a rotating exhibition. It's the kind of place where you can find a ceramic incense holder made by a local artist, or a rare vintage Korean poster, or a tiny stall selling nothing but perfectly wrapped mochi. There was live music echoing through the open-air corridors, and that's what's beautiful about this part of Seoul. It's a city that doesn't hide its sound. Whether it's buskers, ambient jazz from a cafe, or chatter from courtyard bars, there's always a texture to the street. And you don't even have to shop. Insadong is a kind of place where people watching becomes its own activity. You pass families, gallery hoppers, students, or tourists all flowing through the same grid, moving from the traditional to the contemporary in just a few steps. Eventually, I found myself approaching Deoksugung Palace, located near the Four Seasons Hotel. This palace is unique for its combination of traditional Korean and Western style architecture, reflecting a period of transition in Korean history. Just in time, I witnessed the ceremonial changing of the guard at the palace gates, a colorful and meticulously choreographed event that offers a glimpse into Korea's royal past. Continuing in my just love for this changing of the guard procession is full of pageantry of color and precision. These bright yellow robes, tall hats, deep drums echoing through the plaza. It's ceremonial but truly alive. It's a performance not for tourists, but a thread of Korean tradition still woven into daily rhythm. As the gates open, I step into the palace grounds and immediately into quiet. There's a wooden pavilion just inside, and the details pull you in. The geometry of the beams, the joinery, the soft shadows under the eaves. It's humble but exquisite, a showcase of Korean craftsmanship at its most restrained. What's fascinating about Deoksugung is its contrast. On one end, you're surrounded by classic Joseon era structures, tiled roofs, stone steps, gravel paths, and then suddenly you're facing a massive neoclassical building. White columns, symmetrical facade, grand and a little unexpected. It feels almost like something you'd find in Europe or the American South, like a Greco-Roman villa dropped into a Korean palace. That building is Seokjojeon Hall, designed by a British architect in the early 1900s, a symbol of Korea's complex push towards modernization during the late empire. And then tucked in the garden is a cast iron pavilion, wrought iron columns, decorative railings reminiscent of New Orleans balconies or Victorian garden architecture, adding another layer to the palace's architectural dialogue. The grounds are lush, a lake with a sculpture rising from the center, a small island floating beside it, and a stream gently feeding into the water. It had a quiet harmony, almost Japanese in its balance, but grounded in the Korean aesthetic, still spacious, deliberate. And just when I thought the experience was over, I came across a quiet little cafe tucked in the garden, because of course Seoul knows how to blend beauty with pause. Leaving Deoksugung, I walked just a few minutes and found myself at one of Seoul's most iconic urban design interventions, Cheonggyecheon Stream. It's literally steps from the Four Seasons. The entrance is marked by a sculptural plaza. A giant seashell structure opens up to the cascading waterfall where the stream officially begins. It's poetic, but also deeply urban. This used to be a concrete highway. The river had been buried beneath infrastructure, hidden, forgotten, and in the early 2000s, the city made the radical decision to peel it back, to excavate the stream, to give it and the people a second chance. I remember seeing this project years ago on Arc Daily, Design, and Design Boom. It was always framed as a global case study in urban regeneration, but being here in person, it's something else entirely. The space is lived in. People are sitting by the water's edge, reading, chatting, walking in silence, dipping their feet in the stream. It's not a tourist attraction, it's a civic space, one that truly belongs to the people. There's music echoing through parts of the walkway, friends catching up over a coffee, and older women journaling under the shade. It's multi-generational, unbranded, and human. What I love most is the landscape evolves as you walk. At the start, the stream feels sculpted, edged with stone designed for rhythm and entry, but as you go further, the architecture softens. Concrete gives way to wetland, the border blurs, and you move from plaza to pocket ecology. Tall grasses replace walls, birds move through the space, it becomes wider, more organic. Even the walkway is changed, no longer a rigid path but gentle meandering lines set in soft ground. You feel less like you're walking through a city and more like you're entering a living corridor, a river remembering what it once was. The stream itself is just over 11 kilometers long, stretching from the city center out toward the Han River. It was part of a massive urban renewal project led by the Seoul Metropolitan Government in the early 2000s, designed by the local architecture and engineering firm Yushin Architects and Engineers, with environmental and landscape input from Seoan Total Landscape. The vision was radical: remove a decaying elevated highway, excavate the buried river below, and reintroduce it as a multi-layered civic space, part green corridor, part cultural spine. They used water recirculation systems to keep the stream flowing and bioengineered banks to support both hard edges and soft wetlands. The result isn't just beautiful, it's an ecological infrastructure, a space where urbanism and restoration converge, offering Seoul a new identity rooted in the past, yet built for its future. After leaving the stream, I headed south into Gangnam, one of Seoul's most electric neighborhoods and easily one of the most iconic. Specifically, I was walking through the Sinon Haeyeon area, known for its dense patchwork of low-rise buildings packed with restaurants, cafes, market stalls, and people just out. This district has a certain urban texture, less polished than other parts of Gangnam, but full of energy. There's seating on the sidewalks, stalls spilling into the streets, couples catching up, co-workers laughing over macchioli. It's lived in, layered, and totally alive. Then came the highlight of the evening, Pig Bar, a traditional Korean barbecue spot that I now considered a required stop for anyone coming to Seoul. Dinner began with a boiling cauldron of soup, rich and aromatic, followed by an array of meats we grilled tableside, Korean barbecue style. You control the pace, the doneness, the bite. Add in dipping sauces, fermented sides, a shrimp stew, and a few noodles, and it's deeply sensory, shareable, and experiential. And to close the meal, an ice cream bar just casually handed to you at the end. 10 out of 10, I highly recommend. But the night was not over. Just a short walk from dinner, I found myself pulled in Seoul's late night rhythm. Not sure the name of this nightlife pocket, but it felt like the unofficial after hours district of Gangnam. Music was blasting from every corner, bars stacked on top of one another, neon, LED, ambient glow. It was organized chaos and everyone was part of it. Young, old, stylish, chill, just out having a good time. I ended the night at La Bamba Latin Pub, a reggaeton bar that somehow felt both unexpected and completely perfect. Inside, pool tables, strobe lights, and a dance floor full of energy. It was one of those moments that reminds you how global Seoul really is. You can start your day in a palace and end it in a Latin club. Seoul's nightlife really is something else. It's loud, vibrant, spontaneous, but also warm, easy, and safe. Whether you're out clubbing, sipping cocktails, or just walking the streets with a bag of convenience store snacks, the city lets you be a part of it, no matter how you choose to show up. I'm Quinn Russell, architectural journalist based in Dubai, and this is my day one of 2 design forward experience in Seoul. And this is just the beginning, so you can catch the next episode shortly. You can also watch my full 10-day Japan series, which I just wrapped up. It's linked in the playlist below in the caption, which stops in Osaka, Kyoto, and Tokyo. And coming up next, England, Istanbul, and back home in Dubai. There's so much architecture, culture, and experience to explore, and I'm bringing you with me every step of the way. So make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and drop a comment below. Let me know what you thought of this episode, what kind of content you want more of, and where you think I should go next. Thanks again for watching Traveler's Bazaar. I'll see you in the next city.